Hello everyone, this is Sam, and this is another video on Python. In this video I'll cover a little script that I wrote to parse a, an, a user input for an interface. And this script will basically parse it and put in a format that is needed um, to run through a specific script that I wrote in order to retrieve the 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 interface IP interface brief of a specific interface, right? So I'm looking for one interface, not when I do show IP interface brief, I'm looking for one interface using this command, right? So I'm gonna still use the same code that I've used um, in the last video, but in this video, in this specific session, we'll talk about how we can parse the output while this the out we can parse this output that has been already um, like converted into a dictionary, right, by the TextFSM module, right? So a dictionary is a it's a tool to make, let's say, data more readable using a key pair value, right? In here we have a list, right? This is an output from the TextFSM module, and within this list there are elements, and each element is a dictionary, which makes it very easy to parse um, a file configuration or an output configuration or whatever, right? And this is used in multiple different languages. Okay, now in this case, um, the user will put a will enter an interface. So the question is, hey, which interface? And then you enter an interface, and this interface will be mapped to this variable first input, right? Obviously, using this function or method, I will this function, I will strip any white space onto the left and to the right of this input. Now let's say the user enters gigabit Ethernet 1. Okay, so the user wants to see the output configuration for show IP interface brief for gigabit Ethernet 1, right? What's going to happen is, if he had put a space here, the space gets stripped by the strip function, and then this list will be put within another variable, right? So that the first input isn't changed, but the second input is manipulated, right? And within input 1, we will we will convert this second output into a list. A list will make it easy to run through using a for loop in order to examine each element and make change that may be that we to format a certain way to fit our script, right? Because the user may enter data, but the data may not specifically fit the script or the input that the script would accept, right? Like, let's say if I was to write this format, but the script wanted something like this, where the first this first G is a uppercase, and the E here is an uppercase, or whatever the case may be. Now the for loop will run each letter within this list, right? And each of these letters that we wanna, like for example, I want the first letter, okay, so sitting at the placeholder 0 within this list, right? I want it to make it an uppercase, right? So you'll go from a G, oops, to a uppercase G, right? And then the E, you know, in the placeholder 7, which is here, right, would be uppercase 2, right? And it will break out of the loop because we've accomplished uh, what we wanted to do, right? Those two changes, and that's it. Now we'll do create a new variable called third input, and with this variable we will stitch this back to a word, to letter by letter, and recompose the whole interface, right? Now this is user list composition. It's a for loop still, but it's much readable, better readable. But anyways, I will not go over list compositions. Now, next line, we're running another for loops. This is actually the actual script where we examine each element for the interface that the user would like an output for, right? So we're using a try block here. Within the try block, we want an interface matching the user's input, right? And then for each line in that element, we want it to print this data, which is this will be the, for example, the interface and the interface name and the IP address and it will go through each element within each line within this element, or and it will print the interface, the IP address, the status, and the protocol, right? Now if the interface doesn't exist, the except block will print out this message telling the user that you have entered a non-existent interface. That's pretty much it for this script, right? So we're going to run the script. So I would do that. Let me move this up so everybody. So basically, this API retrieves IP address, protocol, and status, right? So I would type continue, and then enter hostname to connect. So we'll do one of the routers that I have running in my lab. Okay, the show command, and then the interface that I'm interested in. So now the script wants an uppercase for the first G and an uppercase for this E. So the earlier script that I've made is to reformat this this input, so that the Python script can continue on running and provide the information requested, right? So you can see this was what the customer entered, but this was reformatted as such because within the script the conditional statement is looking for this string, this exact string. Now if the G is lowercase, then this script will fail, right? So right now we have an interface, an IP address, a status, and a protocol. This is pretty clean, I think, and this is much more user friendly. Okay, thank you for watching.